Good morning. Some of you are familiar with that, I don't know, little, I'm not sure what it's called, sometimes it comes with a picture, sometimes it's just an expression by itself, but dance like nobody's watching. There should be another one. Drive like everybody's watching. It depends where I've stuck the camera. I don't leave it running all the time now, but in fact, one reason I don't is the very first day I put it up to catch the speed racer people, I caught one and posted it. It's kind of, I kind of took the wind out of my sails, so to speak. But if I had a camera, I could just, and I do have one, I might set up. It's not an HD, but I might set it up anyway. Well, actually, no, I have another HD that I could maybe use. But anyway, something that would just run the entire time I drive to and from work. The one I'm recording with right now runs for 10 minutes and then shuts down. So I have to keep attending to it if I want to get the whole trip, which means every red light I turn it off, turn it on. But don't really want to do that. But if everyone drove like everybody was watching and had the ability to influence perhaps the ticket that would come in the mail that said, you know, you passed this person on the shoulder at this location at this date and time, you know, here's your ticket, have a nice day, and you pull out and pass on a double solid do not pass line at this date, this location, have a nice day, here's your ticket. Because when it gets right down to it, all the accidents, you know, they're all going to be, well, not all, maybe there's some mechanical error, but many of the accidents for sure that we experience, either personally we're involved in them or we're in the traffic jam because of them. From what I've seen anyway in my travels, they're generally connected to somebody doing something goofy and it doesn't turn out well. One of the best examples would be a couple of young men that were killed on a road not far from where I live. It's actually probably within 5 kilometers. They decided to do a U-turn at night on a road that has an 80-kilometer-an-hour speed limit. So at night they are now sideways across the road because they couldn't just make the turn. It's one lane each way and they had to do, like, I guess, a 3-point turn. So as they're in the process of doing this, a vehicle traveling up the road at 80 kilometers, probably slightly more than 80, betting on, you know, how people tend to drive at night, can't see this vehicle, and they T-bone it, killing the occupants. Now, would most of us think, hey, doing a U-turn on a road at night, that's a safe thing to do? Well, I guess you might think it's a safe thing to do. You think, well, there's nobody coming, I can't see any lights, yada, 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 but you never know what is happening that you haven't considered. So doing a U-turn at night on a road, probably a U-turn in the daytime on a road isn't a good idea, especially if you end up parked, you know, across the road for a little bit of time. But anyway, that's how these guys died. They got T-boned by a minivan driven by, I think, a group of women on the way back from bingo or something like that. So completely avoidable accident, human error, poor judgment, whatever you want to call it. And that day-to-day, like, you know, people, I was in an accident once myself because someone decided to turn left in front of me because they thought they could make it on an amber light. Like, the light was changing, they were sitting at the intersection, I was approaching it, I had reached the point of no return, I still had a green light, it went to amber, and I couldn't have stopped anyway, even if I had tried. But it was amber and I knew I wasn't going to stop, so I continued on. But the same moment that I was continuing on, this person saw the light go amber. They thought, oh, I can get in front of this guy, I can make it. And they pulled left in front of me and I hit them. You know, that kind of stuff. People making mistakes. So if everybody, going back to my starting point, everybody was driving like everybody was watching and able to influence the outcome, like if everybody had a video camera and all the driving that was being done was being fed into some system somewhere and everyone was being assessed, it would be a more interesting driving experience. I think from the point of view that would be a lot less dumbass stuff happening on the road because, quite frankly, people have figured out, you know, 99 times out of 100, I get away with this dumbass shit. Nobody notices. And every once in a while, maybe a police officer... Actually, I've even seen some pretty dumbass stuff happen in front of a police officer, and the police officer, you know, would appear to have seen it, but he's on the way to do something, I guess, more important. So, no ticket comes out of that. And of course, then I've seen situations where someone's parked right in front of a police officer, and then they do the dumbass thing, and well, then guess what? You end up with a ticket. So, not enough oversight. Most people, I think, would agree that a lot of the goofy stuff that goes on the highways is because there just isn't enough police presence to maintain good order and good conduct. And some people I know for sure love it that way. They like being able to misbehave on the highways and love the fact that, you know, oh, well, worst case scenario, they catch me, I'm going to pay a fine. I guess that's one point of view. I can kind of understand where that comes from, but when you're in a line of vehicles and you are waiting for the accident scene to be cleaned up to the point where you can then pass, it's kind of inconvenient when you find out the reason the accident happened was because someone was being a doorknob, did something that you could predictably, you know, expect an accident to come out of. Anyway, this has gone on way too long. That's it. That's all. Have a good day.